Okay, this is Elliot Wave Sage. Like always, none of this is financial advice. Always do what's best for you. Just use this for education and entertainment purposes. I thought I'd get on with a quick live stream in market hours at towards this close here. I know a lot of people maybe online trading. Just thought I had a chance to do this, and I'll just jump into super chats as they come in or questions. But yeah, hey, so I'm just also posted a video. I'm trying to step up my game with my quality of my videos. So give me some feedback on that. I just posted kind of just more of a video just to test out um, my video editing capabilities, and then it will also I won't have to keep saying this is financial advice anymore. I can stop saying all that. So I'm trying to step up my game, and I'm going to try to do that with this live stream software as well. But let's just jump to ALB. ALB, I was looking at ALB earlier. I think it's in an area where it's interesting to buy it. I'll say that again. You have to do what's best for you. Let's see. Well, it was in a good area yesterday. That seems to have been negated with this break right there. So I did look at it yesterday. It looked like we had five up, and this looked like, okay, could it be doing like a 1-2, 1-2 with a very low risk? And unfortunately, it broke it. So now you're looking at a connector. So as long as you're still above 71, you're okay. So I think you just got to look at this as a three-wave move down, and you have to buy it against 71.63 if you're going to buy it. And you need to see the divergence erase so it doesn't need more downside. So I think that's the play, but I wouldn't buy it here anymore. All right, Cat and Devon Energy. So Caterpillar is another one that I like as the Dow pulls back down. Right, the Dow is correcting this big move off the low, but this is probably pulling Caterpillar down with it. And that Caterpillar can actually mark the low of when all this correction ends in the Dow Jones, right? Caterpillar also didn't. Their earnings report came out and they weren't. It wasn't that great. Their guidance. So we're looking at this fourth wave. I wanted to because we never broke this high. GE broke the high, and I did post earlier that I wanted GE. I really love GE off this low. I mean, this was great. I love GE, guys. I love GE, but Caterpillar was not as bullish. It did not break the high, so I think it's susceptible for a lower low, and that would be a dip buy there. So I'm looking for a lower low. Here you could see their regular bottom. That was the warning sign that perhaps this was going to happen. But there was a trade set up, right? And someone asked me, so there was a trade here for a dip, but I know I left the trade and took profit on that. I didn't hang around in the trade, but I mean, will I buy it again? Sure. If it wants to come back down to 341.45, why not? And this would be the area for the dip buy. If it decides to drop, and I believe that's where it's eventually heading down into this area. All right. Devon Energy, energy is hard. If you're a fundamental investor, I would call it mass confusion. You have tariffs, you have, that will push oil prices higher maybe, and then you have Trump, drill, 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 supply will go up, and then you have growth that seems to be slowing in our economy a little bit. And so you have all these cross currents, and so I look at Devon Energy and all the oil stocks is very confused in what to do. So we did call this bottom because of how impulsive this is off the low. So it looks like to me we got this like impulse here, and that must be finished. Let's see here. We have yeah, it's basically vertical, right? It looks like it went vertical here. Let's relabel this properly. 1, 2. Let's just take a step back because it's such a tight impulse, right? I mean, people were FOMOing in. Look at that extreme. But you see, we didn't get divergence at the top. We never got a real convincing dip here. I mean, if it's corrective, that's very bad for Devon Energy. I'll just say that because if you look, you had this capitulation, which is why it was a low. You come up vertical, no divergence. What if it's a corrective bounce? What if all this is a corrective bounce? This, and then it has a whole nother leg lower. Well, then you're coming back to these areas. So a way I don't think there's a trade setup. I don't like how this This actually, while it has a very, very impulsive look, it finished reactive with erasure of the divergence. So because of that, it could be corrective as well, even though it was really a big bounce. And then if you look here, it looks like you have another wave coming lower in some kind of three, a connector. So it definitely looks like it's heading to retest this area right now. So, you know, the way I would label this is probably, let's look at the 45. I think the best way to label this one would be like three-wave move. It's got to be in a three-wave move. I just, it's hard for me to see it any other way here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, maybe you put the A there. Let's look. Let's just look closer. This is 1, 2. Yeah, we're gonna have to just go all the way to just take the time to try to do this right, or we won't get it right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3. So there's one cycle. Boom, correction, and then you come back up again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So you see, you're moving in three-wave increments. You're moving in three-wave increments is what it looks like to me, and not 5 waves. And this is actually a connector, an expanded flat connector. Something like this is, and then you come up in another three-wave cycle. So maybe yeah, maybe what we'll do is look at it as like a W, X, and then you have this Y, and then within it you have your three waves, connector, boom, and then three waves. Something like that. It's got to be something like that, and then it's pulling back in either another three, and then you'll get another 3 up, right, and get all this sideways action, or it will impulse down and break this low. Because there's really on the 4-hour and daily no divergence, and this is so severe, I would be worried this is a connector for this cycle, and you're going to push lower in 2, and you're going to get Y to extend down. And then this was just a connector within Y. Because if you remember, this was early, right? This was earlier than we wanted Devin to finish. We were expecting it lower. So I think this is the label I will go with. And I do think oil's going lower. So I think this is the label to go with. But I mean, just be careful you don't get chopped up in this X wave. But I don't like the way this looks right now. Potential buy area, again, we'll go back and look at our buy area is probably, again, lower, 2163. Somewhere here. That's probably what we're looking at. Devin's a tricky one. All right, let's go to the next. Any other super chats? So it doesn't look like I have any more. So good. So anyway, since there's no more here, what I'll do is I'll just look at the market real quick for everyone and just kind of give you guys where I think everything is heading. So Dow Jones looking for this wave 4 support at 44,000. 500 more points potentially here. Caterpillar, you can use the time when this ends. The SPY, looking at it, it looks like it's 3 waves here here and here. 593, 589, maybe fill this gap. This would be the area for a bounce. The triple Qs, same thing. Come down, break this low, 494, 492. It doesn't have to do that though, but I don't like to buy it or play around in it. But big cap tech is pretty weak right now, and the IWM's in a connector, don't like to buy or trade any of this. It looks like it's in a 1, 2, and this 2 wave is going to chop and come out. Big cap tech, if we just want to take a quick look at some of the big cap tech, I know NVIDIA is very popular. NVIDIA is very popular, so let's take a look at NVIDIA real quick. NVIDIA is in a couple possibilities. It could be this more bearish setup. And again, we had the short area literally the day of my live stream. Someone asked me, and we had the short here, and we came back again. So now we're finishing up the higher degree wave 4 for a 5th wave. That's what I think is going to happen with NVIDIA, guys. And so I think this could be a 1, 2, 1, 2. This could set us up for even more downside than we saw here. So maybe these tariffs are going to hit this company hard potentially. I don't know. I'm speculating or something like that. Restrictions. Now you could label this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but I think we need more extension than we had. So I am looking for like $80 in NVIDIA as the kind of the resting spot potentially for the dip, which could end kind of that tech correction. Let's look at another popular stock like Apple, right? Let's look at Apple. Let's look at Apple here. The white, yeah, the white. Yeah, maybe I figure out to make them darker. I've always used this color. So Apple have it topping in this 3. So it looks like we'll definitely do a 3-wave pullback. That's what it seems like it's going to happen. So there will be potentially a dip buy for traders at 205, 195. So again, Apple's probably saying we're going lower, right? Look at that wick. It looks like it's going to take a 3-wave move down there. How about Tesla? Tesla's another one we've been saying should go lower, and that would be about 340. And this is the connector that's about to fail in this ABC correction. And if you look at TSLL, that should frighten you if you're long Tesla, because if you look at TSLL, it's got a lot more downside potentially, which signifies potentially a lot more panic will come into the market if we break this low at 23, because then it opens us up the door for 14. And that's a big drop. So that actually could really indicate a real big sell-off, scary sell-off for Tesla. Could be on the horizon, and Microsoft as well. We did not FOMO in on the B-Wave connector. We had the short here, and now we're ready for buying it at 375, and we should be going down. So you can see tech needs, these big cap techs are kind of like correcting in waves that aren't in good areas. Yeah, they could bounce, but they're not in really good, like good areas for me. Okay, and since I just got a few people on, let's just look at GME real quick, since someone is asking me. GME, we've always just trusted the chart, right? We just trust the chart, and the chart is still holding up. Now that does look like 3 waves here, so we got to be careful. But as long as you're above 2667, but more importantly 2628, this could still happen. If this low breaks, then you're still in wave 2 in this flat, and you have some kind of 1, 2, 1, 2, and you're going to come back to these lower areas. So I think again, you just have to kind of hold the line here if you're long GME, and just and understand that if this low breaks, it could have a considerable sell-off, right? It almost looks like kind of like a head and shoulders reversal. So you gotta be careful, but it doesn't have to do that. It doesn't have to do that. See, we really reset the cycle right here, and you reset it, and you're coming up. You see the daily, it's just breaking out. So you have a lot more, it wants to break out so bad. The other thing we want to keep an eye on is that tricky market makers love to do the expanded flats. They trap you in the expanded flats, right? Where it does something like this. Be very careful of that. And then we go lower. So just be very careful. Like if I mean personally, I would leave it. I mean, but if you're brave, maybe you put your stop loss a little bit lower, so you don't get like played by the market makers because they've been doing this pattern so much. So maybe your stop loss needs to be at like 25.50 or even $25 just to give you some breathing room so you're not such an obvious target in this, and then you get this pump and you realize, okay, now because it broke the low, it's probably going to go. So then you got some options. But again, it may not happen, but I just see this pattern playing out. And when you look at the daily, I wouldn't, I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe you have bullish divergence here. This will finish, and there's not enough energy left in the market to bring it down to this level. So I wouldn't. Maybe you will get something like this. Okay, anonymous. Yeah, I did do that. I copyrighted it because some idiot went on GoDaddy and took my name. I don't know why someone would do that. So someone mentioned that. So I have to protect my brand, right? Because I'm getting followers. I have plans for the channel to make it more polished and official. And maybe even have a subscriber element where I have much more frequent updates and things like that, and like access to my live streams, for subscribers, and you get your questions answered, no super chats needed, something like that. I'm thinking through that, but yeah. So bigger dip to four. I don't think so. I mean, I don't think you'll get that kind of dip. I think the market just wants to continue to push higher, and if we're down in this area, I bet you Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia are all going to be in those buying areas I mentioned, and they're going to support the market in this SPY index and Caterpillar. So it would take a lot of panic to break 580. But if we break 580, it will be a bigger sign that perhaps the blow off top is over. But we'll worry about that when it comes. But there is a dip buy opportunity, looks like emerging here for those who may want to take it. Okay, let's go to your other questions. GSOL, Solana, the usual suspects. So how are they doing? Let's see. I'm not interested in Bitcoin myself at the point, sidelines, because it's it's kind of in this connector. But again, we're just trusting the chart, and it tried to shake people out. I'm going to go with this conservative view that it's like some kind of like something like this. Now, if we could break this high, that's a great sign for this stock here. Now, I think you could see something like this. Okay, but could it be a 1-2-1-2 and it's about to moon? It can be that. But as long as these lows are holding, you just have to hold yourself and if you're in it, and just know when to fold them if you stop out. Bitcoin Cash BCHG is again we're just grinding lower. So it looks like we got this final little push lower. Now if we erase divergence, this will become a 1-2-1-2. So I did want to see the lower $3 area hit. This is the ideal target area, but we're getting close. We're getting close here, and then Litecoin LTCN did make that move lower. This still has overlap, so I still think this has more downside. I think the premium is breathing out because these ETFs. So you have to understand the mechanism of the ETF. The ETF conversion, the premium will go away if they convert this to an ETF, and so you're at risk, I think, of this losing all the premium. Some people say overnight. I don't know if that's the case, but I believe you will lose the premium. That's probably what this drop represents. And also, if another ETF opens up with another company, why would you buy this and pay a premium? So this will just go. So that's what I think is happening here. I don't think it has anything to do with Litecoin itself. The premium is just kind of resetting. Now, the actual crypto coins, we can look at those real quick. Again, how the market's closing. I'm just kind of curious. Yeah, it's tanking. I'm not interested in dip buying this on close. None of it. I mean, hopefully you protected some of your long positions or you took some profit I tried to tweet, like, hey guys, it looked like an obvious, again, I played a market like poker. I thought the Trump, the tariff thing seemed like an obvious psychological thing sellers would use. So I didn't want to fall in that trap. So, I would never say like when to take profit. You have to make your do what's best for you. But I was just trying to give you guys a warning that something like this is going to probably happen. And they'll use the tariffs as a way to amplify the panic, whether it creates real panic or not, or even if they even happen. And I'm not following the news. I think there's a lot of cross information. Like they said, oh, it's a lie, and Reuters got it wrong, and Trump denied it. And then they said, no, Trump said he's going to do. So I think there's a lot of misinformation out there right now. So let's go to the crypto. Let me find it here. So Litecoin, let's take a look at how that one had a big little surge off this low. Again, connector wave, right? It's a connector wave. I'm hanging out if I would say 80, but this is an area that is in the middle of the middle of the middle. You can go to the roulette table and bet red or black here. I couldn't tell you, but if we break this high, then I think it's off to the races. Solana, though, did you have Solana? Yeah, Solana, same thing. It's grinding lower. Again, I looked at Solana here. It's got a three-wave move against this low at 168. I was looking at it as like the low 200s is the area to buy it. I wouldn't worry about this count. I'd be looking for the low 200s with capitulation and divergence erased. Let's see how we're doing here on the daily time frame. Yeah, so there's a couple things you want to keep an eye on with Solana. Okay, and I don't know why my chart is gone on it, but basically, you look at this bigger picture in Solana, and we have to look at there's always this possibility, right? This is the ultimate rug pull, right? To destroy the FOMO crowd that FOMO'd in at the top to get to the lower 140s. Now, if you look, it's possible. Now, the daily, I mean, it doesn't seem like there's enough energy to bring it down. Let's look at the weekly. Maybe the weekly, so it's got a bigger bounce ahead of it. I think if it's going to do this, it would probably fall and bounce higher and then drop. But I don't favor this. So then the next, count is this is the low, right? This is some kind of off the bottom here, right? Some kind of low, and then we're in this other two wave here, and either the low's done, or it's going to take another leg lower. If we look at the 4-hour, it did no divergence, erased it, the cycle's over. So you could put the 2 here, but the 2 is kind of short. It's kind of early. It's not as deep as I would have expected it to go. So it could be that bullish, right? I was expecting 206. We didn't get that. So there is a risk of a deeper pullback to 206 later, and then this is only 3 waves up. So I think if Solana could take out 245.39, you have a lot more confidence that's the low. And it's going to enter this big push higher to all-time highs, blue skies, which is, I think, what most people expect will take place. But there is a risk of a double correction. And if Bitcoin is going to take that move lower potentially, we have to respect that, and that will bring us down to this lower 200 area. So I think that's the move, and this is a tough chart to try to dip by because there's too many. There's the possibility that you get the lower 200, but you also could have that flat I mentioned. I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's likely. But if it's that, you could be all the way in it to 140. So I think it's one of those things where you're going to have to decide what's best for you. But I think the bigger picture is it's higher in the future, no matter what happens here. Day trader battles will happen. But if you got your positions earlier, you shouldn't really be worried about what's happening here. But I'm just going to give you what I think is most likely. I think right now it's a 2. It will go deeper to the low 200s and come out. That's what I think is going to happen and will come out. Good luck on the trade on Solana. That's HUT. Your last questions on HUT. How is that one doing? All right, so we're still in this connector, and that connector has to end here in a three-wave move off the low. Let me take a look at this one more time. Well, we broke that low, so maybe what that tells me is we're still in a bigger connector of X. That's what that tells me. We have to be. So if that's the case, and see how we blew through that dip buy area, so that would have been a stop out. So if you look here, you have 3, 3, and then you have a, so more than likely, oh, look at that. Look at that capitulation. So that was a lot of panic. So more than likely, that's the bottom. I mean, you would have to exceed that level of fear and panic in the market, and it's just probably not going to happen. So you're probably building off of this low now, and it looks like probably some kind of wave 4 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, something like that, and then a bigger pullback. Something like that is what I'm thinking. Okay, Bama, GDX. Let's take a look. GDX, how that's doing. GDX here. GDX is pushing higher like we expected. Then I think you're going to get a pretty big rug pull, but I think it does feel good to be long it. On our last update, we had the dip buy here right at the wave 4 low, which is typically a perfect opportunity. Now, I don't like this little wave. It doesn't look like 5 waves off that, right? It looks 3. Could we still be in this wave 2? It's possible. And we come all the way back to retest 37. So just be careful if you're like, if you're in that, because it doesn't seem like that's 5 waves to me. It looks like almost like it's some kind of like something like that. But obviously this sets you up for more upside. So this would be a gift. If the market wants to do that, that's a gift to play this wave 3 with the higher high now set up. If it doesn't do that, then I guess you have to label it as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you'll pull back again in a 1, 2, 1, 2 setup. Because it's not enough extension to call the wave 3. It would have to be something like this. And then you pull back again. I don't think I'd put 3 there. Let me see on the daily. Yeah, I don't know if maybe, I mean, we'll have to wait and see how high that price can go on that 5th wave. But anyway, it doesn't look like 3 waves to me. It seems like it's going to pull back down and we could still be in this wave 2. But this is also the sign that says that, hey, we're going to keep pushing higher. Let's see the CTSH, not familiar with that. Cognizant Technology Corporation. Okay, let's take a look. It's not a go to 0, which is always good. It makes it a little bit easier to study. Let's see here. Pretty bullish, a lot of overlap in waves. That's probably a good sign. All your peak RSIs at the beginning. So more than likely, it's got a lot more upside ahead of it with this big reset of the cycle right here. Let's see how we can label this. I'd probably label it as like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see here. Well, actually, that would be one cycle right off that low. And then that's your 3. There's your 4. And then you have a 5 here and some kind of flat, nasty flat to correct that whole move. So you have a 1, a 2, you come out. And then you have another 1 and 2, and you're coming out, right? And another flat. So that's kind of the personality of this stock. It loves flats, it looks like. Let's take a look. 1, 2, maybe not. Maybe that's 5 up, but just a weird, long 4 wave. Yeah, so I'll just say that's 5 up here. And then we come down again. and then you have a fifth wave off this low. So this is tough because this could be a couple things. It could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for a 1, 2, 1, 2, ready to rock and roll. But it could also be a three wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ready to collapse back. So it's tough to say here. It does have the look of a 3. That looks like a full reset of the cycle on that weekly, a little bit on the monthly. So I'm going to be more bullish on the labeling of this. I'm going to say that this was the first impulse off the low and it's coming out. So I think it's going to see power of wave 3 and really push out. So they must have something really good going on. I don't know what they do, but it looks like whatever they're doing is going to work out soon. Okay. All right. I'll win. Let me see your question. XTIA. Aerospace. GE Aerospace is doing pretty well. Looks like it was either a SPAC or went to zero chart. Again, we just go from the low. We don't try to label all that because it's just probably was a different company. So it looks like that's only 3 off the low, right? 1, 2, 3. I don't see 5. I see 5 off the bottom here, like an impulse, and I say 3 up. So it could be in danger of a much bigger decline. I would be very careful trying to go long this. Just looking at this chart right now. Let's just take another look. One more. Yeah, I mean, if you look at it here, from this peak, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it could make another swing up to test this 690 area, but to me, let's see here. Yeah, see how the divergence erased. So maybe it's moving corrective off this low. So why don't we label this corrective? 1, 2, 3 connector. See, that looks like 5 though. But the divergence doesn't support a 5-wave look. So we're going to have to label that corrective. So it's going to be a 3-3 move. And with that, you more than likely will get another push higher if it's a 3-3 move with that high break in here. And that looks like, now let's see, this looks like 5 off that low, right? With the divergence. So that looks like a 5-wave move. Right, and then you pulled back in 3, and now you're about to go back up in 5. So this looks like your first 1, 2, and just let this play out. I do think it should go higher. And then at some point it will fail, I think, because the structure isn't bullish overall. But I mean, I think it looks like you have 5 off this low. This looks like corrective 3, 3, 3. You need 3 more higher. So I'd be looking for more upside. All right, UWMC. Looks like let's see how it happened here. So we had this very bullish setup and it didn't work out. So it looks like to me we've got, must have some kind of 5-wave move. But if you look, it's really corrective. It only moved in 3 off this low, but it's 5 here. So just take another look at it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, 1. Yeah, so it's in a bigger connector wave, A, B, C. So it's in a bigger connector wave. And then this is a connector. And it's just coming down. And it probably ends it here. And it should take another leg higher. So I'll just kind of leave it at that. But it's it looks like a connector, so it's moving in like a bearish structure. And you'll have to decide how you want to play that. But I believe looking at this looks like 5 down. Looks like that would have ended at 528 and should be building higher. And why? For something similar here. So still the same overall idea, just took a real crazy path to get there. that I don't think anyone would have been able to anticipate, but I think overall it will still be higher. And then when this Y is finished, then you'll have a big decision to make on whether you want to stay with this or not. All right, Anonymous again. Let's go to your super chat here. Let's take a look. And I got to get something to drink. I'm just going to take a real quick break. I'm just going to grab something to drink. Hold on. Give me a few minutes. Okay, so I'm back. All right, HUT, MIGI. Okay, a couple here. Let's go to these. HUT. HUT is, let's see how HUT's doing here. HUT's trying to come off this low. I think I gave you, yeah, I think you already asked me about that one. All right, yeah, so it looks like that was a duplicate. MIGI. Okay, so I mentioned that breaking this structure would be extremely bearish for it because now you basically have a connector here that reset this cycle and it's got to go lower. I mean, that's the line in the sand, 62 cents. If that breaks, it's going to have a massive. It could even become a go to zero chart potentially. So I think it's a very dangerous chart to trade. But is it possible it could still be saved on this pullback here? It is possible that we have 1, 2, 3, a connector, 1, 2, 3, and you need 5. So I mean, it's got to stop going down like right here, right now. It's a very low risk, high reward buy against this low, but you have to understand kind of the danger you may be in buying it potentially here. Again, this could be like an ABC, and then here is another ABC. 1, 2. Let's look at this a little closer. This C leg. You know, you have like a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5. Could be done here. You see, it took divergence out. It erased divergence. Now, that's dangerous, especially on the 40. I would have liked to see it. Let's make sure we see something on maybe on the 15-minute. Okay, that's better. So, but I mean, you will see divergence erased on the higher time frame since it's a three-wave move and it's a three-wave move. But you do need to see something on the lower time frame with divergence, and you do. So I think you could say that maybe that's it here, and the structure was just a double correction against this low. But it's at a very pivotal moment in this company's chart right now. NVIDIA is playing out just like we've expected. We've done really well trading NVIDIA on our channel, and I'm looking for $80 this area. I am looking for a bigger push lower in this flat correction. You know, we had the short area. We said that this was too short to be wave 4. I don't think it's the grand super cycle peak. I do believe NVIDIA will make another all-time high in the future, but I believe there's some more pain to come, and perhaps we could get selling even worse than what we had a few days ago, even worse than that. So I wonder if those tariff threats are really not threats and there's retaliation that affects this company. I don't know the story behind it, but this is the setup. It's set up for a waterfall sell-off going into next week potentially. Look at that. Now, some people would have this labeled also as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I don't prefer that labeling because there's not enough extension here for me to label it that way. But we keep an open mind. It could do that. If it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it could then pull back and go lower later. But I really don't, I'm not interested in buying it until it hits this $80 area here. If it can come down there. And again, I can be wrong. But we've done pretty well with NVIDIA on the channel. You know, we had the short here, right? We had the short here. And I think I have some older charts where we said it was going to keep pumping. And even back here, we had a buy on this three-wave dip. So, I mean, we've traded it pretty well. I just think you got a little more downside coming. All right. And then Indo, I think, again, is a kind of a small cap / energy play. But it's one of those ones where you just got to trust the chart on it. We were looking for this push lower to finish out. Now you see how you have this ABC within this X, so more than likely you're actually probably still in an X wave here, as this is trying to figure out what to do. Let's just take a look here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you're in this big ugly connector. Maybe you could say it's yeah, maybe it's got another high with another low as it's in X because of this high right here. Yeah, I think don't be surprised for another pump and rug pull later. I think it's in this kind of connector, this connector here. Now we did break that low there. We definitely did not erase divergence. But you see, so this has a lot of ways I can label this chart. There's a lot of ways. Could be a W, could be an X, could be a Y like that, which is probably what I think it's going to be. Maybe oil's going to go a little bit higher, and then boom, something like that. So I think that's the play, something like that. I think that's what's going to happen, and you'll have to decide what to do. But you know, again, if you're buying it here, you're really buying it against 235. Hang Seng Index, let's see how that one is working out here. Looks like the market closed red, pretty ugly reversal. Hang Seng Index is pumping up in this final push higher in C, and then we should get another rug pull soon. Looks like it did just miss our buy area a little bit. You know, I'd like to see more upside here, but let's make sure we're not in a looks like an impulse off the low. So it looks like to me we should extend higher. And after this pullback, it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up, pull back, come out. Something like that is what I'm thinking. Apple. I don't think, like I said, I'm not saying Apple's going to go to $30 or $40. I'm just saying it has a the conditions are such that it could. It could. I'll just make, you know, again, real quick, this is where I think we are in the grand super cycle, a 3 top with a 4 pullback, probably down to 140, 120 at some point. Now, I don't have it doing that. Now, why do I think that could happen, though? Well, what if I'm wrong, right? I could always be wrong. This is the chart that tells you could be wrong. Look at this quarterly RSI, guys. I mean, again, if this was any other stock but Apple, and you saw a chart look like this on the quarterly time frame, what if we break lower? What if we break lower on Apple? What if we don't break higher on this? What if this does this? This type of consolidation since 2000 for 25 years of pressure, I mean, that means you'll get that. And if you get that, it's going to 40 or it's going down that far. Now, I can't tell you that that's what's going to happen, but hey, that's the tightrope, you know, you're walking on with Apple, and you better understand this chart really well. So that's the chart. Now, I do think we're topping out. Look at the month. The monthly's rolling over, guys. I mean, the monthly this is going to roll over and pull back. This is going to roll over and give us a nasty correction as it erases this whole cycle. All that. Boom. That will happen this year. I'm almost certain of it. And when that does, this is the 4 wave. And when that happens, we more than likely will be, when the dust settles, somewhere around here. This is the first bounce area. If this is in play and this is what's happened, this is where probably be the first, where the connector wave will start. W, X, Y. It'll do something like that, more than likely something like that. That's all I'm thinking. Or it could even do something like this, and then it could even bounce again and go again. Like, it could do that even. So like, whatever's going to happen, that's what I think. And I think you have to look at the monthly reset of the cycle as kind of the clue that it's over. But then you got to understand the bigger picture. That quarterly compression on the RSI will generate a massive crash if it were to break down. And essentially, that's telling me that everyone is kind of long, and it's just pressure. It's pressure. Good luck on it. But anyway, I'll leave that box here. But there is a bounce play here for traders, right? This is a trader's box. 200. You know, everyone loves to buy calls on Apple, right? So hey, this is your trader's box, because there's going to be a lot of, even if we're coming down here, there's going to be a lot of dumb money that's going to want to buy that because they're just so conditioned to buy it. So take advantage of that and let them give you some profits. I mean, by the time people give up on Apple, we'll be right down here, and then no one will want to buy it anymore. So right now, everyone wants to buy NVIDIA, wants to buy Apple, so those dip buys are easy money for a scalper. So it's just easy money because there's just so much liquidity that want to buy those stocks out of just a knee-jerk reaction. But eventually that will change, and no one will want to buy them. But anyway, that's Apple. All right, thanks again for the big super chats. Mike, Cleveland Cliffs is a favorite of mine. I do keep an eye on that. Let's go to Cleveland Cliffs. I think it's under my commodity section, under steel. I have that here somewhere. It did hit my Fibonacci target, although the swings aren't ideal. We broke this high. Very bullish sign. Very bullish chart. It is what it is. Now this little bit here could be 3 waves. So I think for now we'll just keep an open mind and call that a 3-4 here. But it could be another 1-2, 1-2. I think it's coming off the low. Now, the higher high should give us a little more upside. But I think that's the chart. I mean, that's the chart. Again, as long as this low holds, it could be a major bottom. Now, if this low doesn't hold, it's going to retest these lower $6-7 areas. So you gotta know where you're going to stop out. But it's trying to come out of this, and we'll see if it can do that. CCJ is the uranium. Uranium's been really beat down back and forth, and I know like URA is like, URA could be in a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, a massive moon pattern, but it also could be a connector on 3, which would be a dip to 25, 24. So I keep that, again, keeping an open mind that maybe uranium still has more of a correction to go. Let's take a look here at where we are with it. So this one's a little different. The CCJ here, 3, 3. Again, it looks like 5 down. Could this be a big flat? That would be like the end of the world scenario, right? So we won't assume that. We have to assume that's the low, because then you're assuming this company's going bankrupt, which I mean would be like the end of the world type stuff. So we're going to assume that's the low, and it's just truncated, and then this would be some kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2 here, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, right off this low. So this looks like it was setting up for a big pump here, and that's what happened. And this fractal may be playing out in uranium right now, like I showed you the 1, 2, 1, 2 setup. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. Oh no. Oh no. What does this mean? So let's look at our RSIs. That's your 3. There's your divergence. Now look, you reset a lot of that cycle already with this drop here. So could we be off by a swing? And I believe we are. So I believe it's something like more like this. See, a little different, but it has huge implications. You see, and then that corrected the whole thing. The RSI supports this as the count, and that's why I'm a little more bullish in the uranium sector than others. And so now you're up here, and now you have this, and this looks like a 5-wave move off this low, right? That looks like 5 waves here. Pretty clean chart, and 3. So now we did break that low. This is definitely not a good bottom here. So we're looking for, it did go deep enough to the 4, but it looks like it's going to probably take another leg lower of some kind. Erase divergence, though. Let's go to the 4-hour. Again, you do have more here with a connector to fin. So yeah, I think the best way to label this would be an ABC from this point, and this is a 3-wave move. Something like, where was I? 1, 2, so like here, A, B, C, C. Now could that be C? Probably not. I mean, it probably isn't, because you didn't erase that divergence on the 4-hour. Let's look at the daily. Neither on the daily. So more than likely, C's got more downside. So this C leg looks like it needs a push lower, and then it should finish this correction soon. So I think it's stuck in the correction. That's why I think these sectors are going to double correct. They're gonna probably double correct down. Yeah, hard to get a target on this one because of the way this corrected. I think we got something like this coming, and that's where URA probably will take this little drop down in a double correction here off of this low. Like this had a great bounce. This was a good buy area, great bounce. But I wouldn't be surprised to see that sector try to generate more pain for traders and investors and retest this area. That's what it looks like is happening. And the triple U's also did that. See how it broke that low right there? So again, that's showing it's going to retest. So I think uranium, you know, this AI narrative, like, oh, we don't need power anymore because we could do these AI models, you know, with very little energy and power because of DeepSeek. I think people scared people, the weak hands, and it showed some breakdowns in some of these charts in the sector. So I think, you know, I think for uranium, you're going to see a little bit more downside. To negate that, you really want to watch URA taking out 31.94 again, or you know, we'd have to come back and take out 58.39, which is a big long way away from where we are now. Oh yeah, you paid for HUT twice. Riot, yeah, Riot is how, again, I'm not like the miners, as bad as I wanted to buy them, I'm not FOMOing in. I'm looking for Riot at $8.50, $8. This is the wave 4 area. I'm very disciplined and I'm waiting patiently, and it looks like there should be a move down here. If we do break 1470, then I'm wrong. It's off to the races. But ultimately, I believe we resolve higher since we're 5 off the low. We did have the buy perfect here, like to the penny almost. So I'm looking, this is what I'm looking for right here. This could be the last chance to get in the miners if this happens. If you're lucky enough to get it, because I can, like I said, I can be wrong. I can be wrong. Then Mana, the coin, Mana here, or this stock, I don't even have this charted. I don't think anyone's ever asked me about this. Oh, the coin. Okay, you want not this, the coin. All right. Let me see if I have Mana. I think maybe we've done this a long time ago. No, we haven't even done it. So you just look at it. You see, you have a lower low. That's always a scary sign, right? Those are usually go to zero charts. Usually when I see that, it's not bullish. I don't even bother with it. Like I just delete the, like from a crypto standpoint, I'm like, I don't even want it. But I mean, if you still want to trade it, I mean, if we look at this, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it looks like a 1, 2, 3. So it's moving in 3 waves. So perhaps you have a W here, an ABC, and now you're in an X. So you're in some kind of X wave, right? That will the dream is it will end and you'll get Y, which will break this high. But where are we in X? Is a $1,000,000 question, and we'll have to kind of try to use the RSIs to guide us. Let's get rid of this. If we look, you see how we're making those lower lows with all this divergence? So more than likely we're in the connector wave of X here. This was the first leg down, connector wave, and another leg, and then you get the low. That's what I'm thinking we'll see here. So there's your W right there for your, and now you're in another X and you'll get a Y. So you're probably, maybe you get a little bit of a pump here as this X plays out. Here, let's see what we have going on here. See, this looks like 5, 3, 5. Real crazy looking chart. Real crazy looking chart. Because this looks like an ABC, and that's more than likely some kind of W, X, Y. So could Y be over here? It could be. You see how you took all the divergence out? So that X actually could be in here. And then you get a push lower in Y. So you got to be careful. So you're either in this, or if you're playing the the roulette wheel in crypto, you get Y to extend, and then you get this later. There's no guarantee, but the RSIs do support the cycle could be over by the erasure of the divergence there. That this is already finished and it's ready to drop. So that's how I look at this chart, and you'll just have to decide how you want to play it. Like I said, you could get the extension in Y, an extension in X, and get this later. That's why I think, guys, the alt season that everyone's dreaming and praying about actually comes in the next 4-year cycle, because everyone has no more money left to trade it, and they've given up on. I think the real alt season, guys, from what I can see in all of my charts, really happens in the next 4-year cycle. Like, yes, there'll be coins that pump, but this 4-year cycle will, yeah, maybe this will come get a little mini pump, but I think the alt season that we all dream and go home about, and all the moon boy dreams, I think it's the next 4-year cycle. It's just my take on the market. I can't be wrong, but I think that's there's so many charts that show this type of explosiveness, like in the end of the decade, like the next 4-year cycle, not now. Oops. But anyway, but not to say like Solana's pretty bullish and things. There's some that was bullish, but I mean the real, like, getting all the shit coins to go up 100x, like you really, like the good old days in 15, 16, 17, like. There will be another time when all that happens again, but I don't think this is the time. Even though, yeah, maybe we'll get a pump as Bitcoin finishes up its cycle, but that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing here. Good luck on Mana. Okay, Timothy, ACHR. Let's take a look at Archer here. ACHR. Got that pump, right? Look at that. We got that pump. And look, we said it could happen, and we just kept going. So again, like I said, you could just keep using your imagination. It could just keep going higher. Like, there's no reason to say it's over yet. There isn't. There really isn't. It actually looks impulsive. I would say it's got more upside. So let's look here real quick. So we did break the low there. So we have to label this properly. So let's go back, label this a little bit better here. So if that broke the low, we don't have extended hours on this, so put the Y there. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I mean, it just it impulsed. See, it could have failed there. but it decided to make an impulse higher. That could be it, right? There's your wave 4 cluster. I mean, it could be like Soundhound, right? Now there is a chance maybe it's still in B, so I'll give a buy setup for those that are interested in it. Uh, but that looks like 5 off the low, so I mean it's easily could be finished and ready to pump again. So good luck. I'm going to label the chart this way, but if the market does want to take a real big dump lower, 611 is your next target. But I don't think it does. The chart doesn't seem to look like that. I wouldn't favor that view. I wouldn't favor that. I wouldn't favor this view. But I'll leave the box there. If I click on it one day and it's down there, I may buy some. Here you could buy some with your stop at 794. But it looks like it's gonna go. It's gonna keep going higher. So it's just gonna keep pushing higher. All right, ASML is one of those semi plays. ASML. I don't like buying any of the semiconductors despite all this bouncing around. Again, we're bouncing around in a connector, but see how it's taking it's going. It's taking too long. So we got to look at the different degrees we're in. We need to take a look at our is it a WXY or is it something different? So we have 5 down, a connector, and now we need to look at what this mess is here. A lot of divergence here, but we definitely reset. So this is a connector now for this whole cycle. So the only thing I have is it didn't really have a good bottom here at all. I mean, you have to be really bullish to put the 2 there, and I just don't think that's going to happen. So let's go to the week. The higher time frame is more important to me. Yeah, you have a connector there. So this box isn't even valid anymore. Divergence. Yeah, see, that makes sense to me. So we truncate it. We're forming a connector. But if it were to fail right now, I mean, that's going to take it down to like 300. That's like too big. That's too much. But if we could go higher, then it would move the correction up later. Something like this. And then this is playing out as an ABC of some kind. Something like that. Maybe come back down. Maybe even break this low. Really scare people, and then they ramp it. Which I think is something like what AMD is going to do. But I think something like that. And then we get this low later. And then eventually ends up to where we wanted it all along. It's just going to take a detour and let the day traders battle it out. But I mean, coming down here, this would be a risky buy because I can't guarantee the connector is done here. And if it is, then it's going to be a dramatic sell-off. And the market's got a lot more problems than even I can imagine. Because if that would take ASML down to 300. This will keep it at in the 500s. And this actually makes like the right shoulder. Like it kind of has like a nice little look to it, right? Like make the right shoulder here. And then we break down. We break that. Come down in this area. Like a false breakdown. Like, oh, whoop. And then we come out. Wave 3. Semiconductors stay alive. Because, I mean, if you look, it's a 1-2, 1-2 pattern. It's very bullish long term. But I think you got to be careful in it right now. I think you got to be careful in it right now. Let's look at the higher stochastics. I'm like curious. You see the monthly, like I think when this correction ends, the monthly would be reset. However, we'd want to keep it above the trend line, this trend line, to be valid. So Not a lot of room. Let's look at the weekly cycle. I definitely want to look at the stochastic RSI. So the weekly, you see the weekly, this one's different than the rest of the stock market, right? Because the rest of the stock market shows the weekly's reset going higher. This one is showing the opposite. See the weekly cycle, so it feels like it's going into a bear market here. You're like, how can it go into a bear market? It already is in one, but see that bounce, reset it, reset the cycle. How about the monthly? See, the monthly is telling you that you're going to get, yeah, the weekly will pull back and the monthly is going to save this in this C leg, right? That's what the, and then I bet you're going to bottom with monthly bullish divergence here on the stochastic, but the RSI will reset itself on the monthly. So I think it's a lot, that's why I think you're going to get a very tricky structure here. You're going to have to navigate if you're trading this. And a lot of the semiconductors are going to do something like this, I think. And I know people that have calls and puts just hope it trends. I don't think you're going to get this. You're going to get a lot of this choppiness. So it's going to be really tough to trade. But I think this is what you're going to get, something like this. So ASML perhaps dips back down to 636, 608. And then they rip it higher. To only drop the rug later in the year. Pull the rug out. Okay, OSOL. Solana Trust. Let's take a look at that. Nice, looks like a nice beautiful impulse off the low. Looks like it hit our buy area. Perfect. Look at all the gains. Basically tripled your money from our last buy. Now we have 5 down, right? But see, we erased divergence. So that's why it's got to be really tricky. That's why I use the RSIs to help navigate. Because this looks like 5, but it's really a 3-wave move, and it's just how I label it would be different. So I would just keep this as a 1-2 setup for time being. And this is some kind of connector. That's got to be the connector. Let's look here. Our connector, see, actually it's a little bit lower. You see it's a little bit lower, and you see how we erased divergence right there. So it's just a very short, very asymmetrical wave, right? Which is always fools these Elliott wave, guys. So it's something like that. So more than likely, it's finishing up. That low has to hold though, right? Should be pushing higher. Again, Solana's bullish, I think, right? Solana's bullish. Now, if it doesn't do that here, and it does break this low, again, it could capitulate further, continue the race divergence even more, and then become like this tricky structure in the middle. You have this like ABC, and then it goes lower later. But the bullish setup is intact for right now. Let's look at the 45-minute. Now there's a danger here. You see how you have no divergence here at this top. So I have it as 5, but it may not be. I may not be 5. I may have to tweak the labeling, right? And just looking at it, studying it a little bit more. So you have, so I wouldn't label that as impulsive. So you have 3, 3. So it's a little different. So so we're probably looking at something like W, something like that for now. Now it could become a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a lead-in diagonal with a 3-wave labeling. But for now, we'll just say it like that. With that being the case, now the Y can break this low and it's not detrimental to the chart, and you still could get the bigger bounce. So I think it's kind of a tough call now. Now that we relabeled this, again, no divergence. I think you could see this break and then a pump, something like that, and then it takes a whole nother leg lower as the crypto cycle comes to an end. So I think you gotta be. So I don't know. I think I'm kind of 50-50 if it's finished here, or it will take another leg lower on you, or not. So you have to decide what you want to do. That's a tough chart. Now TSLL is another one that I have my eye on, but it has a weird setup. You know, we have 3, and we have 5 in AB. If we break this low, that opens us up to $14, $12. I mean, using my system, I know it's hard to believe that that can happen, but that's what it opens us up to. And I have to trade what I see here. Now, if we get a bigger connector, that will obviously raise the target. If we look at Tesla, it looks like Tesla does have another leg lower coming. So I think this is kind of the chart that I'm looking for. And then yeah, I'm still looking for a bigger pump later. So what a gift this would be. If we can get this, even if it's somewhere here, not even if it's down here, but somewhere here, great. And again, we nailed TSLL on my channel. For those who follow, we had it at 11, went straight vertical. Then we bought it again at 17, and then went even more vertical. So, I mean, we tend to trade it pretty well. We've had all the right charts. And look, we even had the buy here, way back here at $7, and it went vertical. And I believe that's what will happen here. If it does come down here, I'm pretty sure it's just going to go even more vertical again. So I think this keep an eye on this one if you're not, you know, but I wouldn't buy it here. I mean, again, you do what's best for you, but here is a very dangerous setup to buy it because it's 3, and I see 5 down. So good luck. All right, ServiceNow. Yeah, I saw ServiceNow really capitulate it on earnings. Not unexpected given my labeling of my chart because I had the 5th wave over. We had the dip buy here. Am I buying the dip here? No, I'm not. Because we have a major cycle top at 1 and we're in 2. So I think this needs more time to play out. So more than likely this will bounce and fail. Now, once in a while we see crash corrections and it's already finished. But I think that's not the case here. Let's look at some of the cycles and see how we're doing on the cycles. You know, the weekly cycle it's definitely opened up here to the downside. The monthly, see the monthly cycle is gonna, see it's gonna take time. It's gonna take time to correct. It's correcting this whole move. It's gonna be something like this, not as significant, not as long, but something like we should be able to see a nice 3 wave. So I think it's premature to even really go after this one, to let the correction develop some. You got to let the correction develop, I think, in this. This buy was for this pullback, not here. And look, this doesn't even look like, it looks like 1, 2, like 1, 2, 3, 4. So, I mean, maybe you could get a bounce and a failure. You could get a 5, a bounce and a failure. I mean, the future is going to be okay for ServiceNow, but I think it's in a bigger correction. I think this would be very unusual to have a crash correction like that. Just end before we know it. We have seen that before in the market, but I don't think that's likely. I think you're in this. I think this ushers in a new bear market for a while in this stock. Okay. I'd like to buy the dip. Yeah, 800. This trend line's the ideal play, right? See this trend line? That's the ideal dip buy. This trend line. I mean, that's probably the ideal dip buy. How did this do against this historic trend line? We broke a little bit of it, so maybe we break it a little bit. So we'll keep an eye on it. We'll have to just, you know, it's on my watch list. We'll keep an eye on it. How deep did this one go on this wave too? You see, here's your 4. You see how it broke through the 4 and almost here's the top to 2. There's your top here. So that the fractal says it's going to probably come back down to here somewhere, down to here, with a break of the trend just a little bit. So yeah, 800, 790, 750 ish is what I'm thinking right now for targets on this. Okay, a couple Alex picture. Let's go to yours here. Let's go here. Crypto. Where am I? Sorry, watch list. my bad. Right here he is. All right, MVIS. What? Microvision. So looks like you have three, and then it pulled up. So the X wave is just kind of going higher. So you got another wave higher probably coming. So that opens up a higher target. Now it opens you up for like 250, somewhere around there. And again, you want to see divergence erased. So I'd be looking for more upside. I'd be looking for more upside now, and a bigger push higher, right? It's a bigger push higher, and you have to label this as some kind of 1-2-1-2 setup. Short squeeze coming. Yeah, so it easily could have ended here. This was fine to end. It had all the right look and feel, but it pushed higher. So it's going to set a trap, I think, for the bears now here. And then you'll get another squeeze that will take out even this peak, even bigger and more powerful. And that's why trading these connector waves, because it's never guaranteed. The connector wave could just keep extending, and then when you do that, it could even keep going. Like there's no reason it could just keep going. We don't know when it could end. But you just kind of use these clues. This represents the top of the short squeeze, so we'll get another. But at some point, you'll say it can't really exceed it anymore, and then you know that probably X is done. Okay, Dogecoin. That's another one that I hadn't seen it lately, so I'm not sure if there's any clues that we could look at that will help us. But I think it was kind of a 50-50 chart. So again, we look at this. It seems like you have this ABC. 1, 2, 3. One more push lower would probably do it if I'm looking at this right. Like that, something like that. That would take you down to this 2 wave. As long as you're above 26, and that would be the count. That's the setup. Now if we do break this low, the buy is at 20 cents, 18 cents. So, and then this was 3 waves, so it's 50-50. It's in an area of indecision. The market is very confused. It does not know how to trade or play this. I think if you believe Bitcoin's going to hit the 80,000, more than likely it's coming down to 20 cents. If you believe Bitcoin won't do that, then it's probably finished very soon for the next move higher. So I think you're just gonna, it's just not, there's not really good clear direction here. I could label this bullish or bearish, but then you have this nice 3-wave move down here, capitulation. So you'd have to take that out. You have to be even more. So that's why I think you'll get, yeah, maybe you'll get a little more downside, but then this should be it. GDDY, let's see here. Oh, GoDaddy, yep, GoDaddy. GoDaddy's essentially a vertical. We were hoping for a dip by here we never got it. It's been so bullish. It just keeps pumping and pumping and pumping. Yeah, and we keep calling this extension 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. So that wave is over. It's probably already erased divergence. Let's see here. Get my cycles mixed up. So that would be a 3, a 4, a 5. So we'll see if we've erased divergence or not. And we have to go to the daily time frame now. So we're still in, yeah, I still would label it this way. All right, so we're coming close to the end, but it looks like, it's a little bit more. But as you can see, more than likely, the easy money's over. Now, is it possible we can go higher? Let's look. Like, Could it surprise us and really pump? What's interesting on the weekly cycle, here's your wave 3 of 3, right? That's what we want to see. See how wave 3 is much higher than the beginning? So that's your 3 of 3, and now it's diversion. So yeah, I think you see how the 4-hour wants to bleed down. The daily will want to reset. The weekly will want to finish going out. So I think it's closer to this kind of top in area, to this top of this 3, closer than we think. Get 4, and then one more high. But if you look at the monthly, I noticed, you see how we never took this peak out? We'll pull back in the grand super cycle, but it'll be a great long-term investment opportunity when it happens. So when this ends at some point, assuming it doesn't just keep extending, whenever this ends, it'll essentially go vertical. Like it's gonna go even more crazy later. So I think that's it. But don't be surprised if this doesn't also turn into like a 1-2, and it just keeps going, and then it erases divergence, and so there's no guarantee of these pullbacks I'm showing, but I do think it's got more upside. And you know, we were hoping for this dip buy, just didn't happen. It's too bullish, which is typical of a wave 3 of 3, right? We didn't get the double correction here. We really like that. Great opportunity, just didn't happen. So it was pretty much a flat here, boom, and now it just went vertical. It's just gonna, yeah, I think people just want to keep their websites up to date, right? Keep their websites up to date. Uh, all right, Bitcoin, are we still getting the push and then a correction? I believe, and again, this depends on who you follow and your personal bias, but I believe Bitcoin will go higher than that. I believe if Bitcoin can break out of 110, it will go a lot higher. I think if you're hoping for this to be your count, I'll go back here. If you're hoping for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and oh, we'll come right on back down and I'll buy some here, I doubt that's going to happen, guys. Because this correction took so long, one, and this is taking so long. That's not typical of a 4-wave. Okay? This is probably a 2-wave, correcting this whole move. This probably corrected this whole move. You're probably looking at a 1-2, 1-2 setup. So if we start going higher, I think the 2 is already in. And if the 2 is already in, well, we know what wave 3 in crypto means. It means a lot higher than where we are now. We're talking 200,000 plus. So there'll be no pullback. That's my belief, and that's how I feel. Now, are we still in 2? I think we are. So I still think we're in 2. So I don't think the ghost is clear for the bulls yet. I still think you've got this situation here. Now, some people believe that this was a 5. Now, you see how you broke that high? If this was a 5, let's say this is all wrong, and this is a 3, a 4, and a 5. Then this was an A and B. That means we're in a flat against this whole move, which means not only will we go down here, we'll flash crash. I mean, we should flash crash down to 48,000 before anyone aware is what happens. That's what this would have been. It'd be like that. So I mean, do we really think that's gonna? I doubt it. So I think this is where I think we're going, and I'm just gonna kind of hang tight. I mean, and I wish I was a fortune teller. I wish I knew, or I'm not the market maker. I'm not Satoshi, right? I can't just move the market in Bitcoin at will. I can't promise you anything. I just show you what I think is likely. And that's why I think the sidelines is the best bet right now. I mean, now when this high breaks, I think people will be surprised because they think it will keep going higher in the 3. I think if people are looking for a nice little like wave 5 and we're just going to kind of get a comfortable, I think that they'll be disappointed that won't happen, and the market will leave them behind, and they'll end up buying at the top. That's just my guess. If we break this high, but I still think this is the view I have right now. Good luck on trading Bitcoin. It is not an easy count, but I do think this is the count, And then this is the setup. This is the setup. This is the count. If something like this happens, just, you know, the extension would be like 180,000. So we'd probably get to 200 grand, 200K comfortably. But we all know wave threes on the grand super cycle of Bitcoin always go way beyond your imagination, and they exceed your expectations, like we saw in 2017 when they went to numbers that nobody thought was possible. 19,000. You had to have been a crazy man or woman to say Bitcoin would go to 19,000 when it was trading after the Mt. Gox collapse or breaking 1,000. You'd have to be a crazy man to say that. Would it be crazy to say, oh yeah, Bitcoin will be $700,000-800,000 in eight or 9 months? People would think you're a crazy man saying that right now. But that's the type of wave three action Bitcoin tends to do in wave threes. It gets crazy action. But I'm not guaranteeing that. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised. But I believe that a nice typical extension would be like 200, 250,000. That's a typical extension if this is a wave three. If it's a crazy pump wave three, a typical Bitcoin wave three will go beyond that. Because it'll go beyond what we think is possible in this cycle. Because people will leave too soon. But I think this is the count. And you'll have to decide what you want to do, how you want to play it. All right, you have to decide how you want to play it. Good luck on that. Good luck on trading Bitcoin for all you guys out there. Brian, let's look at that. TOLZ. TOLZ. Not a lot. Chart data looks pretty bullish here. So the best is still yet to come, although you're probably in a bigger wave three of a cycle here. 1, 2. So let's see what we got going on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's your 1, 2 right there. Pretty obvious. And then I would label that as a 1, 2 here. Probably a 4. We're probably finishing up this whole impulse right here. Let's just take a deeper look at it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. So we're probably in wave 4 still. So as you can see, I don't think it's that. I think it's probably another 1, 2. Looks like a lot of the industrial charts, right? Something like this. Now we didn't break that low, so the 4 could be done. But I'll give a buy area. This looks like could have a setup for a dip buy opportunity. Right around 46.80, 45, 75 here, potentially. And again, you could get lucky and it extends, races divergence, but I think this is probably the path it will take, something like this. Good luck on that. Okay, 2 easy twins. Let's take a look at that. Polygon. Let's see that one. How's that one been doing? Matic. I think Polygon's Matic. Yeah. Just trying to finish this last leg up. So it's just trying to push down so it's close. Like we've been charting this for months and months, right? So it's close, but it's just not there yet. I mean, I can't say when we break this low is when it could be finished at any moment. Something like that. And then Dogecoin, I gave that update earlier, just to briefly touch on it again. You're going to see either a 1, 2, 1, 2 with one more minor low here breaking down to 29 cents and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or it's 3 waves up, not like I have it labeled here, and you get a deeper pullback down to 20 cents or 19 on this wave too. And it's kind of a 50-50 toss up. ETH, let's go to ETH here. I don't get a lot of questions about Ethereum these days, which is interesting. Like I did a couple years ago when I started my channel. I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign. Maybe that's a good sign that people just aren't paying attention to it. Again, that could be the bottom right here. And again, it's in that area of, again, if I just pick your bias. If it's a 1-2, it's out, it's ready to moon, and there's your connector ready to roll, or it's in a deeper correction against this wave 2, and it's going to come back to this 24,000 area. Unfortunately, again, I don't make the market. I don't know. There's no clues. You did erase divergence. It could be easily be finished here. But what it does look like is no matter what happens, you broke this high here, we should be higher in the future. But however we get there could be a little confusing for traders. And you may lose your position if you try to get too cute trying to trade in and out. But I believe this is kind of the look I'll go with for now. And you'll have to decide. I personally wouldn't be surprised if it does not double correct, if Bitcoin goes higher, if Bitcoin drops to 80, the 80s, like I show, it's going to probably take that deeper dip down, both options being viable. And then this other one, I think it was a go to zero chart or something that we've seen before. Yeah, go to zero. And yeah, it's just unfortunate. And people, this is what happens. You trade to go to zeros. It's probably just going to keep grinding lower until it's in the triple zeros, but maybe not. 1, 2, 3, 4. But see the extension, erase divergence. Now, if we look here, there's a lot of divergence here and there. It probably needs a short squeeze. I mean, look, it's probably due a short squeeze, right? And then it will probably collapse again. And it looks like it's trying to generate that right here with this from this peak. Let's take a look. It is in an area where it could happen. You know, 1, 2, 5, 1, 2. Again, I'm just trying to see where we are. 1, 2, 1, 2. So maybe that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4. Could be that. Could also be this, but as you can see, it's too big. So more than likely, that's your 5 down. And now it's going to correct this cycle. And I don't think it's finished correcting that cycle yet, looking at all those RSIs. So my guess, again, I mean, I don't like pumping, really bad stocks like this. But I mean, my guess is it's probably got, something up its sleeve like that. And then this looks like 5 down. So perhaps you're going to accumulate more in this area in X, and then you'll get Y. But at some point, I would expect a short squeeze to reset the stochastics on these higher time frames, the daily, the 4-hour, the weekly. Then it could take its journey lower. So I think it's got something like this. Looking at this looks like 5 down. So that's why I think it could still be in the connector here. But as long as you're above, I guess, as long as you're above this low at 10 cents here, this chart is good. But even if you did break it, you could still get the expanded flats. So because it's corrective. So I don't know. It's tough to say how to trade this if you want to trade it. But I'm just giving you how I feel, and you'll decide how you want to play that. Thoughts on uranium? I shared those earlier. I think uranium's going to take a double correction. It seems like that is likely, although the charts, some of the charts have held up. Not all of them, though. Some charts have broken down on us that show that maybe more downside is coming in the sector. Going back to uranium, URA is the big ETF. And as you could see, we had a buy here with a two-way move, and we got a nice vertical bounce off this low. This could be a 1-2, 1-2 setup still, right? But it looks like 3 waves, but we haven't broke this low, so it's not this. What I'm showing isn't it's possible, but I mean, I'm sorry, it can happen, but it's not guaranteed. So, but either way, we'll come out of it. I think this is what I'm looking for. But this was such an extreme drop, and when you look at things like CCJ, and let me just make sure I confirm what this is here. Yeah, uranium. See how it broke the low here, opening up more downside. The U's broke the low, opens up more downside. I'm concerned. You know, see now this doesn't. This shows the more bullish count again, 1 2 1 2 potentially, but it could also do a deeper move here. So I'm just telling you what I think. I think it's got more downside in a double correction. Yeah, and you went here. Now these other ones, let's take a look at what we've got going on here. Again, more than likely that's going to take a bigger dip here in this wave 2, and this is a connector. So I think it's just in a bigger correction, a bigger degree, because traders got afraid of this you know, AI not needing energy narrative, right, anymore, because of what China was able to do with DeepSeek or not, or what they're tricking everyone. So now they're all scared that you don't need this power anymore. And so that's why there's some panic in the sector. And you know, there's 5 waves. You see how that broke that low there? So perhaps it's an ABC correction here. Come back down. So I think you got a double correction. It was an opportunity to buy the dip here, right? There was, like we had here, and you did get a couple pumps, but unfortunately it turned in corrective, and there's no way to know that. You have to take this wave out to kind of negate this bearish view. Okay, two easy twins. All right, let's see here. 2 easy twins here. Okay. Oh, thanks Anonymous for the typo, catching the typo. I'll fix that. See, this is why I have you guys looking out for me. 2 easy twins. Oh, BONK. Oh yeah, that's some new coin I saw on Robinhood. I saw this bonk on Robinhood. Let's take a look at it. Some kind of meme coin, I think, of something, right? Some kind of meme coin. Let's take a look. All right. Trying to come off this low. Looks like you got a 5-wave, some kind of lead-in diagonal right off of it. So it should pull back down to this area if this is right, somewhere around here. And that's what it's doing. See the connector, and it's going to take that leg lower. It looks like an ABC right here off that low. It looks like right here. That's what it looks like to me. So I will keep an eye on that because I like trading, and I think this could be a really low risk setup here for a big spike. But I think it's going to play this thing out like this. Looking at it, it looks like a 1 2. Maybe put it there, 3 4 5, and then there's your connector, and now you're trying to push it lower. And it's like 1 2. Either probably a 1 2 1 2 setup here before you get to 3 and 4 5 is my guess. And I wish I had better news to share if you're long. Now, could it be this? It could be possible that, but we need to really see how that divergence goes. And erases, you see there's too much divergence there. Let's look at the daily. Now, good to see in the daily reset, but I'd like to see it push lower. More capitulation, really reset this whole cycle, like really convincingly do that. Let's look at the weekly. Same thing with the weekly. Really want to see that reset and break that trend line. So that's probably what we're looking at right here. And it kind of sucks, Robinhood, lists the coin right at the wave 5 so the guys can dump their bags on retail. But don't worry, I believe looking at this structure that it should make another leg higher at least. And I don't believe it's a go to zero meme coin. I believe it will go higher whenever this is finished. You know. So good luck on that. Bonk, bonk, bonk. Okay. GME is just trade the chart on GME. How did it do at the end of the day though? I looked at it at the end of the day. It still was holding up. Let me see here. GME, like anything, it's hard to say that it would go higher while the market breaks down. But the chart is holding up. I mean, again, this could easily be a 1-2-1-2. So it's like do or die. Now, if we break this low, then it's still in the flat pattern, and then this was a 1-2-1-2, and it's just going to hit these lower areas. And we did know the cycle. We did see the cycle end, so we know this whole cycle's over. So it's got to correct this whole cycle. So perhaps it will go deeper. There's no guarantee. Now this would be a good area, typically the wave 4 cluster, but sometimes it goes deeper to shake more people out. Um, Definitely, if it comes back down here, I definitely get very interested in it. Now here you could be interested, but you have to know how to, when to fold them. And it could be a rapid decline potentially here, given the count being a wave 3 to the downside. So um, I'll just label it like this until the chart says otherwise. Okay. Thanks for the super chat. Um, BWXT. Let's take a look at that BWXT here, guys. BWXT. Never looks like we've looked at them before. Got this correction. We did break that low. It looks like you've got a connector and you got another leg lower, just kind of like we anticipated would happen. So now we could get a dip buy opportunity, dip buy area. So now we have a target that we can patiently wait for, and we'll want to wait for that to hit 103, like $100. And you see that's all that support. It's kind of funny how it always lines up like that, this system, right? So look, all that support right there will probably be tagged, and that'll probably be where it bottoms out. And then you get another push higher. That's what I'm thinking. Now, how does it get there? Now, it could have made its move down already. If we jump, it's a connector, still in the connect, so it's kind of in a sidelines area, but I would just save the chart and then look to buy it if it hits these areas, have alerts set, and if it hits this area, then you have a buy opportunity in this stock, I believe. Lufthansa airline. All right, I'll add that to my I think I have airlines here. I started adding a special category for airlines. DL AKF, Lufthansa. Lufthansa. It's an OTC. Not a good looking chart. Very ugly looking chart. Looks like you've got 5 down here. That may be okay if it's a big flat. I bet that's what it is. Damn. Let me hold on here. Sorry, I'll get this separated again. Okay, so no divergence at that peak. 3. Yeah, I think yeah, it's in a connector. So this is these are always tough charts because they're corrective in nature. So more than likely it's something like here where you have like a W, an X, and a Y. And then this was within this was like a W, an X, and another Y, something like that. Okay, you had that. So, and then that gives you a bigger W. Now you're in an X. Okay, so now you're in this X wave. Now, it could have bottomed here, but it didn't. So you're still in probably X. Um, so you're probably in some kind of WXY. I bet you'll get a pump soon, and then that's going to fail. And if it still hangs around, you'll get this bigger pump later, I guess. So I think it's but it looks like to me it's not complete. It's not complete. A connector within the connector, super dangerous chart to guess and trade. A day trader's nightmare, trading within a connector and a connector. But this is what I think you'll get, something like that. And then boom, and then if it still exists, right? It can go. These things can go to zero, right? Or go off the trading. Don't trade anymore. I don't know. Then Y will come later at some point, right? Something like this will happen to break this high, and then we do it all over again, but at a higher degree that takes even more years to get consolidate. All right, Neo. Worried about some of these stocks like green stocks and Neo and stuff like that. And the Hang Seng, yeah, Hang Seng could bounce, but it's got a rug pull type moment. I think that should happen. So the chart on Neo, again, we're trusting the chart, so it's out of room. The bullish case, you really need this to move now, but if you really look at it, it looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're in a connector. I mean, it's probably not good. It's probably not a good idea for me to label this bullish. And what this is a bigger connector. I mean, I just look at this here. I mean, this could be A, B, C, a big connector, and then you have a whole nother leg lower, and you hit this buck. You hit a buck. Once you break 362, you know that's what's going to happen. But right now it's tricky because I believe you're going to have like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What I'm thinking is going to happen is you'll get something like this. So I think that's what I would be expecting, and then I would be more concerned with a bigger push lower. And that lines up with the Hang Seng index forecast too. So we need to line these two forecasts. You see that, but you see this little pump. So I'm going to go with that for now, but it doesn't, I think, again, if you're like a day trader and you want to, trade something, you could probably try to take a long position here in this with a stop somewhere around here. $4 and see if you get this pump. But then I would be careful that you get the rug pull, because I just look at the structure bigger picture, and it doesn't seem like this doesn't look like a very good corrective move unless we get something really crazy where it pumps and then crashes in 3 waves, and we can somehow, like, perhaps the market does something like this. A, B, C, and holds that low. Now that would obviously do it too. Something like that. Okay, so good luck on Neo. But that's my view on Neo right now. I think it's going to do something like this, and then a bigger push lower. And then if the Hang Seng can become more bullish, then we'll maybe become more bullish in the forecast as well. I think for it to drop here would probably be too bearish. Let's take a look though. The weekly, yeah, see the weekly. See that weekly? It's gonna pump up. It needs to pump up here in that C leg. How about the monthly? See, the monthly's open downward. So I think for the time being you'll get a pump here to reset the weekly, and then boom, it's down, and then it's down, and then it I don't know. Then it's how does it fall, and where does it bottom? Will be the $1,000,000 question. Because it could still be saved. The chart could still be saved if it's a flash crash and we respect that low. Perhaps we can erase divergence, break the low. I mean, maybe it could work out. I've seen charts do something like that before. It's rare, but I think not likely. Okay, IAG. IAG, let's take a look at that. I'm a gold. I'm a gold. Yeah, that's a new one for me. Okay, we broke that low. Looks like in three waves. Looks like in three and three, and now so it's like a connector. That's what it looks like to me, unless we erase divergence, which doesn't look like it. So we're in this connector wave off this top 5-wave move down. That looks like 5 waves up off the low. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? That's what it looks like to me. Maybe that is 3. Looking at it a second time, 1, 2, 3. But see, we broke the low here. That's too bad. That's too bad. That means this is going to correct for a while, chop around, and frustrate people. It's going to really frustrate people. But it's gonna have to be something like this. So for now, I believe you got more upside, of course. Probably will take this high out, but you're running out of room here. Now it could go higher, but then at some point that's it. So maybe it won't go that high. Maybe that's a better representation of where it goes. Again, I'm just, maybe not all the gold miners are going to be successful. I did read that if gold does go higher, some countries will nationalize their gold industry. Well, essentially the government will come in and take it over, not be a private. And I don't know what happens to shareholders in that case. I guess it goes to zero. So I think if you own international gold miners, you need to respect that. That you could have countries come in and say that gold mine belongs to the state now, and the shareholders, you're shit out of luck. I mean, I'm just saying, like there is risk, fundamental risk that I think you gotta like pay attention to. I'm not saying I don't know where this is based out of, but I remember reading that somewhere. Some country did that recently. I gotta retweet that, and that got me thinking about owning an individual gold miner that isn't like I don't obviously the U.S. would never do that. At least we don't think they would. They did confiscate gold in the Great Depression, but I mean I do think that if you're like owning a gold mine in Nigeria, and gold pumps and goes to the moon, and the current everyone's going crazy in the financial markets, the government might just say, hey, that gold mine's ours now. Sorry guys, we own that shit now. We got to pay our bills. And then that's it. And the shareholders probably get wiped out. I would assume the shareholders get wiped out if that happens. So I'm just saying, so understand that risk too if you're a fundamental investor in gold miners. Also know inflation kills the gold miners' margin, but deflation with high gold prices is rocket fuel for their balance sheet. Big margin boost. So have to wait and see. That's the fundamental view on the miners, guys. So pick what it is. Is it deflation or inflation? And if gold goes too high, it may actually backfire depending on what country you are, because the country could just take the mine from the investors and say, hey, it's nationalized now. Because hey, they don't follow. They're not all democracies out there, right? They may just give the middle finger to whoever and just take it. So anyway, I just throw it out there, but because I look at this chart, it's like it's very interesting. But anyway, that's the chart. But I think it's got more upside, but maybe not as much as we think before we get a bigger pullback again. And we do know gold. I have gold. I'm topping out in a wave 5, right? Gold, the metal, right? So if the precious metal is going to top out, why would I be bullish to miners in the short term, right? If I'm in wave 5 here, right? Wave 5, a 5, a 5, a 5, where we could correct and go all the way back down to 14,000. Yeah, I mean, you would think the miners would crash with that, right? That's why I think it will happen if we can't erase divergence, which is possible, but it is showing high risk here in this 5 of 5 of 5 of 5. So but we're in 3 of 5 right now. Now we get a bigger pullback in 4, then we know time's almost up. But good luck. Okay, Hive, the next buy point in Hive, we looked at that earlier. I believe Hive is already, Oh, I wonder if I lost my chart on Hive. Maybe it was on my long-term chart by accident. Let me go back and look and see. I thought I had the Hive chart it. We'll give it a second. Yeah, something must have happened. I'm surprised my chart's gone, unless TradingView's glitching out on me. We'll go back to Hive. So all right, we'll just go back to it. So Hive coming back. It looks like you have 3 down here. And then you're building off of this low. The monthly here, you've raised divergence, but see how the monthly oscillator's opened up to the downside, but the weekly isn't. So so it's probably got one more push higher. I think that's what most of these show, like a Y wave is needed, and then that's the end of the cycle. So from this low, I mean, if we just kind of take a step back and look at it, high level, you've got a W. You've got an X, and now you've got a Y, and then you have 3. And then here you have, see, it looks like 5 down here. 5 down. Could we still be an X? See, here you have 5 down. So that shows the trend is lower, unless it's a CBA, unless this is some big connector for Y. So why don't we label it that way for now? Something like that. I think that's what we're in. Next buy area, I think because this is in as you can see, it's in a connector. In a connector, there's no real way to project a buy area that I feel is safe unless you just want to throw it. You have to just buy the lottery ticket and define your risk. Maybe you put your stop at 218. You could even put it at 131, which would be too much risk, I think, to take. But I believe for now, you just have to decide what's best for you. I mean, personally, I don't trade charts that look like this. But this is what you'd have to hope it is. You have to hope it turns into something like this. But if we start breaking this low right here at 218, then you're in a bigger X, and then it's going to probably retest this low. So it could drop significantly. But I believe whenever that's finished, you still will get a push higher. It may be very painful journey to get there. But but I don't see a trade setup. I just don't see a trade setup. Okay. UVIX. Let's take a look at how our UVIX. So UVIX has been behaving just as we've expected it to. My last update on the weekend, I told you we'd get that bounce, and we sure did with that semiconductor DeepSeek drop. We got that bounce, right? But I said that bounce should fade. So I would be careful. Here again, is it a 1-2, 1-2? And then we push. That's pretty bullish for the market, right? But that goes with the blow off top scenario, right? This lines up with the blow off top forecast, and I have it on my long-term charts, right? The final push higher. So that lines up with that. But I'll be honest, if the UVIX breaks out of this wedge, it could get ugly fast, and perhaps our counts perhaps the blow off top is already over, and so if I look at this, could we still be in 2? Maybe we are. So let me give another target here in the UVIX. Get rid of that. Sorry, get rid of this box. I mean, we knew it was going to bounce, and we got that, but maybe it's got to take a double correction to 34.65 somewhere here, retest the downtrend line, that massive downtrend line, and then we can push for that final low, and we do something like that, and then we get the blow off top. So maybe that's the right way to look at it. If you look here, it looks like 5, but then again, that's pretty big bounce there, so it's probably 3. So yeah, I bet I wouldn't be surprised if we do get a little more upside to 37 here and then drop. But again, we're getting close to the end of the line. Like we're getting, it's running, the market is running out of time. Some people have posted there's a magic date, the end of February. Well, that's ironically when this kind of comes to an end. Like, I'm sorry, the early, like 7th or 10th of February. And we've been just kind of patiently waiting for how this will play out. But I do believe when this breaks out, you'll get a spike like this, just like we got when that broke out. Boom. I believe when this line breaks, this trend line, and again, I can draw it, you know, any different way, but you get the idea. When that breaks, we'll get a pretty big spike. How big? Use your imagination. I don't know. But I believe you will get a spike, something like this. And that will be a yen strength, which has to happen on the chart. But anyway, that's how I look at it. Could we still be in the bigger connector? I guess it's always possible, but then we're breaking out of the wedge, and it changes a lot of things. So I'm just going to leave it this way for now. Good luck trading the volatility. Crypto, Coinbase, CoinL. Well, let's look at Coinbase first. Can't trade CoinL unless you know where Coinbase is going. So Coinbase, very complicated structure. Showed this ABC and a 1-2. See how it's like again, it's still 1-2, still 3. So it's I mean, it's a coin flip, and this could be too bullish here because it's 3. I really shouldn't even label this. I shouldn't even label this. I mean, I could put that there and then put that there. And then we have the swing lower about to happen. I think it's a 50-50. I don't know. I think you're just going to have to decide how to trade this. I do see 5 down. I see a lower low. So I do see the most likely it will resolve lower than higher. I mean, even though it could go higher, I think there's a resolution like this coming. And this is one of the signs why I'm maybe not as bullish on Bitcoin as most people are right now, because I wish this chart looked a little different. Coinbase is a warning to me that maybe the market has a little more downside like BITX has here. Okay, so then CoinL is kind of similar situation. Real tough to trade. We did call the flat here, and again, this looks like 5 up, but could it take a dip down to 28? Very likely. So perhaps CoinL does something like this. Comes out. That's what you're hoping for, right? It dips back to $34, $35 in a 3-wave move. If it doesn't do that, then it's W, ABC, and then it's wipeout. So that's why it's very tough. There's really no good. Maybe we can look at the longer term stochastics and see if there's any clues. But see that this product hasn't been along that long, so we can't use. Let's look at Coinbase chart and see if Coinbase has got any clues. So the monthly has sold off in this correction. It's not oversold. I'm sorry, the weekly. The monthly is breaking out to the upside. So I would favor the more bullish scenario, like a dip down. Whether you break this low, I would like to break this low, and then CoinL, you know, perhaps can hold this, is what I'm thinking. It's a tough chart. This is a very tough chart. I think for the time being, I'll just leave it this way. But I think ultimately more upside. This is battleground. If you don't have a position, I would recommend not even trading it in this area and just waiting for a clearer setup. Okay, Alwyn, let's go to your question. All right, I'll look earlier on, Alwyn, and see if I can find your message. Maybe I skipped over it. I'm looking through it now. I'm trying to see if I find it. Okay, XTIA and UWMC. I see that. And let me go back and see. You said the Fidelity and T-Row. Okay, so they may not be in trade view. We've had this happen before. If they're not in trade view, I can't look at them. So it's just kind of one of those things. Trade view doesn't have all those funds. It looks like it has this one. I don't know if that's in trade view or not. Did we already look at these for you, by the way? I don't even remember. I've done so many super chats here. I may have already looked at these for all I know. But we'll come back and just, as you can see, 3 waves of more high upside and 3. Yeah, we've already looked at these. And then WMC, again, looking for a move higher. And that looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's coming off that low. So that's what it looks like to me, as long as these lows hold at 529. So I think that's how I'd look at both of these charts. This XTIA looks like shit. I mean, to be honest, I'm surprised Fidelity has this in it, but hey, I mean, unless I'm looking at the wrong thing. Okay, good luck on that. So, look at sound. I'll look at sound at the end. If I get to, I'm almost at the end here. I think I am at the end. All right, yeah, I'll look a couple more of these guys. IWM's in a very complicated correction. Watch my YouTube video. I post it, and that should help you out. Sound is you just got to trust the chart. It was a good trade setup out of the Fed beating. I posted the idea on my channel. And you know, you'll have to decide how much profit you want and how you want to play it. But if you look at sound, sound is looking at trying to come off this wave 4. This could be a 1. Looks like, let's just take a step back here. Now that we got some more data. You see how you have a connector here with no divergence. So you have, looks like a 1, 2, 3 connector, 1, 2, 3. So I would label it this way. Again, something like that. You want to see that 5th high to really give you a lot of confidence that was a low. And then you could see another pullback like that. So it could play that game and then come out later. It could also be a 1, 2, 1, 2. We just don't know. But as long as you're above 1264, 1241, the wave 4 is valid. If you break that, then it's a connector and it's going to go deeper. It's going to be a bigger correction and the setup is lost. But this was a trade setup. Nice 3-wave move in the buy area, and we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll get this 5th wave. Maybe we won't. But it has moved off the low since the post. So you have to decide how you want to play this one. All right, so I'm out to the end of the line. I'm going to go enjoy my Friday evening, guys. Thanks again. Yeah, I'm going to try to make some cleaner videos and thinking about a subscription service that's very, very small fee, you know, very minimal, but give really guaranteed regular updates of key stocks, and then maybe you know, live streams to the subscribers where you don't have to super chat. You can just join in a special live streams that are only available to subscribers. Something like that is what I'm thinking. Because I'm going to try to, you know, more I can monetize the channel, the more time I can dedicate to helping out everyone. I haven't had a lot of time lately, but I can tell when I do spend some time on it, I really have helped so many people. And we don't get every call right, but most of them seem to work out. And that was the whole point when I created this channel back in December 21, as everyone was pumping the Santa Rally market, and we weren't buying that on my channel. There was too much noise, and I just got sick of it, so I created this channel to help people out. All right, guys, that's all I've got. Good